Aha, and I believe we are live. First live stream in a little while, in a week. A little break over Christmas. I was half tempted to do a live stream on Tuesday, which is a normal day for me, but Tuesday this week was, of course, Christmas. And I was half tempted to do a Christmas live stream, but in the end, I did not, as I guess is readily apparent. But I'm back now. I'm going to try and get back in the normal swing things. Who's in early? Hello, DBZ, Luke, Dirk. Nobody? Thol, Miss Fox Vacation? Ooh, oh, gang's here early. How about that then? Just get my windows ready, and there you go. There's my video, there's my chat, and we're all happening, I think. No Mimsy as of yet. Just in case she comes in. No Mimsy with us yet. She may show up. Oh, nobody. You got to go do a Skype call with your girlfriend. I am not offended if you leave to do that. Turk, where's your mate on the tools? I don't know, but that was a truly fun conversation. The in-depth chat going on about proper tools for certain situations. CrossFitter, hey, how's it going? DBZ, look, that sort of shit, those various troll videos, they just pop up like mushrooms, man. It's there's no meaning to it, and that particular dude just got a bit fixated on me, and I told him he's being a dick and needed to fuck off, and he had a huge hissy fit. Hello, Catherine. I'm going to make an apple pie cocktail. Nice. Mr. 9, how's it going? Mr. E9. Hey, looking glad Christmas. So it's a bit much hassle. What I'm going to do, I have a couple of things to taste test because I've been making some concoctions with New Year's Eve in mind. I've been flavoring a few beverages so I can make some specialty cocktails, but I haven't taste tested them yet. And I have a few I need to taste test. Probably taste test them tonight. This is the first one because I made a little bit extra. This is an orange gin, orange mandarin jizz. Jizz. I just said jizz, didn't I? It's gin, and I dissolved some rock candy in it that was called orange mandarin fizz. That's why I called it jizz. Here I go. Yes. So actually, I'm going to try a little bit of it straight, and then I'll just have some with some lemonade, I think. Dirk, I fell in. Nobody laid that trap for me. I fell into it myself. There's no getting around it. It just tastes like straight. That's not bad. I'm not really a gin drinker. It's more Mrs. Angry's a gin drinker. It's put an interesting flavour in it. Like I said, I'm going to have it with some lemonade. Put that in. I don't have my shot measure. I like to know how much I'm putting in. Yes, nobody. All the cool kids are celebrating festivities with a nice cup of jizz. No, I'll be back in a sec. I just where'd you go? I'm back from my supply cabinet. Miss Foxification Jizzanade. Yes, okay. So I'm just gonna, because I'm not sure how much is in this. So just, yeah, that's okay. Top it off a little. Here's my finger as a swizzle stick. Hey, Mega Leech, how's it going, buddy? So now it just looks like I'm drinking lemonade. Oh, yeah. Nobody, you're a wine drinker. See, I don't like wine. I've never gotten into wine. I will drink port occasionally, which is called fortified wine. I, you know, a little snifter of port, act like a gentleman of distinction and leisure, and just take a little thing. DBZ, you're worried about the video, dude. You should search a bit further. There, I've even lost count of the number of attack videos there are of me on YouTube. I literally don't care. It's just not something I care about. These sad, desperate little losers, and they obsess about me. Basically, they do not figure into my life at all. They are just fucking sad fucking losers, basically. And I have zero interest in them. It's just not something that keeps me up. I got to tell you, DBZ, I don't believe you that there's an attack video on me that got over 500,000 views. I just straight up to, because I at least probably would have been aware of its existence, and I'm not aware of that existence. So yeah, I don't believe it. Was that nobody? You've got a bottle of Fruitwood Red. Give me a red wine. Turk, you haven't had port in 15 years and you're 30 next year. You drank port as a teenager. My God, that's unusual. Okay, dude, do you honestly think I don't know who you are? Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out. Get a life, you pathetic fucking loser. Jesus. I tried to give him a break. I honestly tried to give him a break. That was obviously Locust Trooper with another account. I tried to give him a chance to grow the fuck up. Obviously not going to happen. So yeah. What's that, Miss Foxification? You're saying what was that in the chat before I actually joined? It does happen, I guess. But yeah, that was obviously the sorry. Miss Foxification, you just looked it up. The dude's trying to upset me saying there's an attack video that has 500,000 views. Miss Foxification looked it up. It has 37 views. Okay, I'm a little bit embarrassed for him, quite honestly. I am seriously embarrassed for him that he's that pathetic and that obsessive. That, oh, if that doesn't say it all, quite honestly. I shouldn't laugh because he's a sad little boy with a sad little life. But I mean, he just stuck his ugly, stupid little head up and said, "Someone kicked me in the head. Someone kicked me in the head." So, you know, verbally, why not? It's just like, I like that misfoxification. I should make a drink called the 500K just for this sad little loser who's so desperate that I notice him. Wow, that's weird. Like, okay, this is a guy who, you know, he doesn't have a big channel. He can't attract a lot of attention by doing an attack video on me, but he's still obsessed with me. I mean, I've had attack videos done on me by people with really fucking big channels, and you have to wonder why. I'm a really small channel. You have to wonder why I've attracted their attention. But it's really weird. There's a whole series of these fucking right-wing, misogynist, racist fuckheads who get obsessed with me. And I just ignore them. So, and that actually seems to really, one of the many reasons I ignore them is it seems to really wind them up when I ignore them. Far more fun than wasting time on them. Dirk, gin, port, and lemonade, is that something you drink? Or did you think that's what I was drinking because I mentioned gin? I don't know. Sounds pleasing. I don't know what that is. Yeah, look, nobody, bugger him with the cactus. I forget who I got it from. But a friend who used to always say, fuck him in the neck with whatever, with what I was saying. So like you said, the Nazis, fuck them in the neck with a swastika. It's just like, yeah. Dirk, that's what you're declaring that's what the 500K should be? Gin, port, and lemonade. I don't know. I don't think I need to make a new one for him. I actually made a video of making a cocktail. It was a while ago called I think I called it male tears or something, because it's a phrase that really upsets the misogynists when feminists say something about drinking male tears. And I'd made my own little flavored beverage, a salted caramel vodka. So I made a salty drink, and as you do with margarita, sometimes I rimmed the glass with salt as well. I forget what was actually in it. But it was the salty tears of the haters that I was drinking. Hey, Afghan Tom, what's that? Oh yeah, the misogynists. Oh, okay, you Nazis, no combos. Yeah, what I find weird from my exposure to them is they think they're the intelligent debaters, but they just have a series of regurgitated talking points with no depth behind them. They're very boring. Hey, Tim, how you doing? And they always like, why won't you engage? Because there's nothing to engage. There's no depth to anything they say. They argue in bad faith. If you ever do waste the time engaging with one of these trolls and shoot them down in flames, then they'll just change what they say. Go, oh, blah, blah. Okay, no, you raised that point. You said that was an irrefutable point. I've just shot you down, and your response is to pretend that never happened and talk about something else. Like, fuck you. So, Tim, you've seen a few of them on YouTube. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, Tim, you haven't seen the ones I'm talking about. There's different flavors of them. Some of them are innately racist. Their main motivation is racism. Some of them are innately misogynist. Their main motivation is misogyny. They're all fucking losers. None of them have anything worthwhile to say, and they all argue in bad faith. And that's the one big thing. That's where I switch off. That's where I don't waste time on them, because they argue in bad faith. Because when you shoot them down, they just move the goalpost and go, I'm not talking about that thing that you just totally blew me out of the water on anymore. I'm talking about something completely different. And they won't shut the fuck up. It's like climate change deniers. Every time you shoot down one of their arguments, and their arguments are trivially easy to shoot down, they go, oh yeah, but, and then they say something totally different. And you go, no, but your central point, your big argument was this, and I shot it down. They go, yeah, but now I'm saying something different. Okay, I'll shoot that down. Oh, yeah, now I'm saying something. No, shut up, fuck off. It's like, no. Do you enjoy discussions on free speech, guns, and immigration? Good luck to you, buddy. Like, I know lots of people who make an active point of getting involved with these people, you do you. You do you. It's like, yeah, Kev Logan, who I've had on a live stream before, he makes a whole thing about deconstructing these losers and responding to them. And like, yeah, dude, fucking whatever. That's your thing. Go for it. Do it. You have the fortitude to use your time on them. I gave up on them a very long time ago. I have zero interest in validating these tools. But if someone wants to deconstruct them, I mean, you know, someone like ContraPoints, who does really involved deconstructions of alt-right talking points. I honestly don't think she ever changes the mind of any of those trolls, because they don't actually listen to arguments. But I think she might provide relief to people who are opposed to these trolls, in as much as they go, oh God, look, there's someone intelligently deconstructing that bullshit. I feel okay now. That's okay. Hey, Afghan Tom. Hey, everyone. Yo, yep. Happy festive. Happy New Year. Yeah, it's like, when I look at the ones who are always having a go at me, what I've seen is like, scratch the surface of an MRA, and almost invariably you get a racist. Look into the history of mass shooters, and almost without variation, there've been domestic abusers or active racists. It's like those people, the Venn diagram of the internet misogynists and racists might not be a perfect circle, but it's pretty goddamn close to a circle. But oh, Dirk, you're not a gunman, you're a compound bow man. Wow. That's a real skill with the compound bow. I'm sure you find it incredibly amusing when someone who doesn't know how to use a bow tries to draw the string, because they can look very funny. Tim, no, okay, I get you're a gun owner and not a criminal. As I say, I think gun owners are unfairly maligned by the gun lobby in the US. Like, the gun lobby, the NRA, have become so extreme. The NRA, as recently as the 70s or 80s, was literally just an advocate for, you know, hunters and normal gun owners. And sometime, probably in the Reagan years, they shifted and started to become this really extremist organization. Yeah, and they now say and do very disturbing things. I grew up in the country. We had guns. We had rifles, a few 22s. My dad bought this friggin' World War I cannon. I think it was a Turkish military rifle that had shells about this big. I don't even remember what the caliber was, but Dirk, you want me to? I don't shoot bows. I just know from experience, if you don't do it properly, you look really stupid. Because if you just try and pull back, you don't get anywhere. I don't have a bow, and it's bow shooting is not something I usually do. So, yeah, I haven't shot anything for years. Like I said, growing up in the country, I used to go target shooting. That's what I liked with the rifle. I liked target shooting. I was never like a hunter. That was not a thing I did, but I did like target shooting. Wrestle with deep thought. You finished work at 4. You had to deal with an undercutting. Fuck it. What work is that? I'm not sure of the context of what work someone would be called undercutting. Like, is he someone you work with, or is it a customer? It's a mystery to me at this point. Oh, you're at a chemist. Oh, and it's stock work. Okay, fair enough. But Tim, that's why I actually singled out the NRA in America. They're scum fucks. They're just garbage. They're evil as fuck. Yeah, and they didn't used to be. They used to be the voice of responsible gun owners. And like I said, it seemed to happen around the Reagan years in the 80s. They just shifted into an extremist organization, and I won't shy away from it. They're directly responsible for thousands and thousands of deaths. Their bullshit, which led to the propagation of incredibly dangerous weapons, is directly responsible for thousands and thousands of deaths. They're fucking scum. Tom, I reckon you're right. Abbott would like to be like Trump and probably like to be like the NRA. He is a bit of a sad loser. Look, is Melbourne getting the heat wave? Yeah, it's like it got to about 38 today. It's a little bit cooler tomorrow, like 33, 34. Anyway, for those who don't know, there's a place in the northern part of Western Australia. It's in the desert. A little town. I think it's probably flattering it to call it a town, but it exists. It's called Marble Bar. They've been setting records. I think like they hit 49.5 Celsius the other day, which is a record for anywhere in Australia in December. And I think they're facing over 45 Celsius every day for more than a week, which humans can't survive that. That's not survivable. I don't think that's even survivable with air conditioning. That's just horrific. Big Pat, how you doing, mate? How's everything in your neck of the woods? Well, Tim, there certainly should be zero parallels between an American and Australia. But I did note in the last election, the state election here in Victoria, was revealed that the American gun lobby was injecting a lot of money into the election. They're scumbags. Just thought, do you work for said, in front of customers, you have to learn. He posts photos of gym workouts with Gandhi quotes next to it. That is surreal. I am so not surprised you don't get on with him. That is absolutely surreal. Frank, that's right, you're on holidays. That's why you can be here sooner than the last 5 minutes of the live stream. You're on holidays. I'm on holidays. Although I'm doing this at the normal time. But lots of people on holidays. Yes, Merry Christmas to you, Pat, and Happy New Year for next week. Like I said, tonight I'm giving my New Year's Eve beverage as a taste test. To Tank Frank, going well. How are you going? We're all just chilling out. My God, I'm so glad this house is air conditioned. The last house I lived in, the sum total of the air conditioning was, one of those wall units, those swamp cooler things. It was very ineffective. It made one room slightly cooler. And when we got these heat wave times, it was fucking useless. But this house has proper air conditioning, which is a major relief, I have to say. Oh, Frank, you've got one more work day and then you got another weekend off. Well, that's okay. Tim, you are generally right about lobbyists, I think. Lobbyists tend to be very mono-focused in what they do. Yeah, and very often not for the good of most. Dirk, am I worried about that piece is talking us? Look, obviously, their YouTube is full of extremists, and me saying things like I think the NRA in the US is fucked and the US gun culture is fucked. And I personally think Australia's gun laws should be stricter than they are. And I get very angry at lying sacks of shit like so-called libertarian David Leonholm, who's bought and paid for shill trying to weaken Australia's gun laws. Fuck that guy. He's fucking scum. I hate him. But yeah. Yes, you're right. I could inflame someone. No, buddy, you don't have aircon. Okay, that sucks. Pat, you're a dog soon. You are turning into a dog? This is an interesting turn of events. Or are you getting a dog? Or are you going for a walk with the dog? Not completely clear. Hey, Safa, how's it going? Dirk, what do I want to improve about gun laws? Basically, we've gotten back to the stage where there are now more guns in Australia than there were before the gun buyback. I just think we need to keep a really sharp eye on it because there are a lot of fucking scammers who are actively trying to undermine the law all the time. Yes, Luke, the drone laws. See, I've been predicting for ages drones will at some point become all but illegal. Like it'll be illegal to have a drone without you having a government registered license and every drone you fly being traceable back to you. It's just the way it is. Ooh, Safa, 40 Celsius. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Agro Pixie. Oh, no aircon for you either. God damn. God damn. Oh, Frank, you're taking time to learn how to draw fantasy stuff. Nice. Ah! You're going to do a Wild West AngryAussie game. I love it. Excellent. There you go, Frank. Amy will help. Amy can do drawings for a fantasy game for you. See, collaboration. That's what it's all about. That's why we go on YouTube, to meet people and collaborate. Afghan Tom, look, you wouldn't have to be a genius to know I am a huge proponent of alternative and renewable energies. The only thing I'll say about green lobby groups is you have to be careful of how often they can get hijacked by really evil, lying scumbos. One of the things that really stood out to me is when there was talk in the US about a carbon trading network, somewhat like a stock exchange, but a carbon trading exchange. And once you started to look at who was pushing it, and it was real scumbags like Goldman Sachs, just really evil bastards. You go, I don't think your motivation is the propagation of clean energy. I think you are trying to hijack this movement for your own commercial gain. And as you have done so many times, you will shamelessly fuck everyone over. Very, very, very dodgy people. Was that Rezel? Donald Trump is the only president to take a stone cold stunner. Well, there is the fact that wrestling is very badly scripted, and Trump possibly has an unfair advantage for anything that could affect anyone's higher brain functions, because he doesn't have any higher brain functions. So yes, I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump could take a blow to the head without too much trouble, because I don't think he's quite as reliant on his brain working as the average person is, quite honestly. I like that, Frank. You need some help from Pixie, but you need a few more coffees to be awake enough to talk about it. That's fair enough. Oh my God, Musically Aviator, your Christmas was hosting a Trump-loving family. Oh God, and working a lot. Damn. Tim, you want a little semi-auto 22? Back in the day, gun may or may not have been legal at the time. But yeah, I was at a friend's farm and they had a semi-auto 22. And I will admit to it being quite a bit of fun. Just sitting there, because a 22 has like virtually no kick at all, and having a semi-auto 22 is fun because you can just put a magazine in it and just go crack, 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 and it's like virtually no recoil at all, because it's such a lightweight gun. I'm trying to work out, while I'm talking here, trying to do this Christmas decoration from the supermarket, and I can't quite work out what the hell's meant to happen here. Something's meant to happen here. Like maybe that goes in there. Yeah, I guess that goes there. Seems weird. Now put its head on. Frankie, we have to practice our texts and accents for your Wild West game. Aidsy loves doing accents. He's obsessed with doing accents, quite honestly. Yes, I can practice. What's that, Tom? The emission trading scheme. Yes, it's just once you see who's involved, when these outright scammers who've tanked the economy and run it into the ground several times, you go, I don't really trust you. Now, what are we supposed to do? Put a carrot in his mouth, maybe? See, I got a little reindeer. A reindeer. Carrot in his mouth? That seems about right. And there's a teddy, but I don't know where the teddy goes. Where's the teddy supposed to go? This doesn't make any sense. I don't know where the teddy... Oh, does the teddy ride the reindeer? Maybe? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. I can't work it out. Dave, you think semi-auto pistols are legal if you're in a pistol club? That was the pistol club in Dubbo where I grew up. Had a late night license till 2 a.m. and it was like the only place in town that had a license that late. And they had a sign out the front, cheeky little sign that said, drink all night and pistol too. Because they had a license too. There was a pistol club. They had a wacky sense of humor. Tim, yeah, David Lanholm's all for what people should have automatic weapons. What harm could it possibly do? He's a cunt. I fucking hate that guy. This is not just disagreeing politically with someone. He's a fucking liar. He calls himself a libertarian and he's not. He's a fucking authoritarian and control freak. It's just that he goes, I don't think there should be any limitations on smoking or guns or driving or drinking or this and that. He's just he's one of those people who's absolutely corrupted the term libertarian, and he shits me because it's like he's going, the government shouldn't interfere with anything, and then he demands an inquiry into the non-existent wind turbine system, and he wants government restrictions placed on wind power because of a non-existent condition. And, you know, it's purely coincidental that he's being paid money by the coal lobby. He's a fucking lying, sarcastic, cynical, self-serving piece of shit. Fucking hate him. Yes, you are correct, Dirk. Here, gun crime is very low, which is nice. There's something in the US, though. It isn't just the guns. The easy availability of guns is a very big problem. But the violence rate and the murder rate in the US, the guns alone don't explain it. It's like, honestly, it's like there's something sick in US culture. And just awful shit happens, and it's just shit. I like that, Rukusan. David Lane skimmed the wiki article on libertarianism, took the ball and ran. Yeah, these latter-day internet libertarians shit me, because what they mean by libertarian is I don't want to take responsibility for anything, and I don't want any limitation on stupid shit that I want to do. And honestly, the people who spout that shit, they're the ones that need limits placed on them. Fucking garbage. Oh, Tim, you used to be a libertarian. See, if you were a true libertarian, you should hate Lanholm, because he's a lying fucking scumbag. He's a cynical, lying scumbag who exploits the ideals of libertarianism to enrich himself. He's fucking garbage. He's such a piece of shit. Rest of we thought, what are the political views of South Park creators? They're Republicans. Kind of old school Republicans, like not Trump Republicans, but it's been obvious for years. The South Park creators are quite conservative with libertarian leanings. Rick saying you're into a big stick. Nice. This one's saying, yeah, tying in Texan people. You can't tell me what to do. I'm from Texas. And yeah, so they won't get vaccinated because you can't tell them what to do. Rukusan, they are not Democrats. They actually officially came out a year or so ago as Republicans, but it's been very obvious for years they were quite conservative and yeah, maybe with libertarian leanings, but they like officially came out as Republicans a year or two ago. Tim, no, I don't vote Greens either. Greens shit me because they act as if they can dictate policy, but they'll never actually be in power. So they spout a lot of shit that they don't have to take responsibility for. And and also, yeah, the Greens are tearing themselves apart with some very nasty infighting. It's been getting worse over the last couple of years. So I won't vote for the Greens, well, because I think they're full of shit, basically. So you think the Greens sabotage Gillard? What was the interesting? Obviously, because Gillard went into that election with the thing, she wasn't going to set a carbon price. She didn't think that was the right policy. And then there was no majority winner of the election. And the Greens said to Labor, we'll support you as a minority government on the sole condition that you put a carbon price in. And she said, okay, which of course was then a stick that was used to hit her a lot. So you said no government I lead will have a carbon price, and now you do. And it's like, well, that is being a little bit unfair. What you need to do is go back in time and say, hey, if the only way you could have power as a minority government supported by the Greens was to support the Greens policy of a carbon price, would you do it then? But obviously that question was never asked. So to use it as a stick afterwards was a bit unfair. Tim, I may be closer to conservative. I think No, dude, I'm old school loony lefty. Yes, I'm. Let's see. I'm very pro-union, anti-bigotry of any stripe. Not that it's an official thing in Australia, but I'm pro-affirmative action, to use that. The system has been skewed so long in favour of straight white men over anyone else, and this colossal lie about, oh, it's all based on merit. It's like, fuck me, really? When you look at the, when there are more men named John heading major companies in Australia than there are women. Really, in all those, when you look at all the people who have these positions of power who are white men, like, really, in all those cases, the person with the most merit was a straight white man. Like, it wasn't because there's an old school network and an established power structure that preserves itself and shuts people out who aren't part of the established order. It's genuine. It's really, it's merit. And then particularly the fuckwits in the Liberal National Party in Australia who promote this idea like, oh, we put people based on merit. And you see the fuckwits, you see the absolute fuckwits that they put in. And you go, really, that useless piece of shit who was promoting family values, arguing against marriage equality because he wanted to preserve the sanctity of traditional marriage, while he was saying that he's fucking one of his staffers, while he's saying that he's paying money through a sugar daddy site to pick up young girls. Really, that person has the most merit? Well, Jesus, the fucking crowd you're picking on must be really shithouse if those fucking Muppets have the most merit, quite honestly. Dirk, I don't know what that number means. 0.25 left, 5.56 liberal. Don't know what that means. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's right. Frank is a traditional conservative, Thatcher fan, Tory, but he completely rejects this alt-right bigotry bullshit, which really upsets them. That's why they call you a conservative, because you actually genuinely, for a long time, supported conservative political views, and this self-serving bullshit these dickheads go on with now, they really don't like being called out on their bullshit. Look at the majority of poor people. Dude, I grew up in a country town. My dad was a small businessman. Country town Catholics, 10 kids. Poor as fucking dirt, man. Didn't have a phone in my house growing up. Always wore hand-me-downs. I don't need anyone to tell me about the plight of poor white people. I grew up poor white people, okay? Trying to redress centuries of vicious imbalance, it isn't mutually exclusive with giving poor white people a decent break. I don't want to keep poor white people down. I just want the fucks who've been controlling everything for centuries to face some real competition. And that's the other thing with the people who voice that they say they're promoting conservatism and the free market and freestanding, but they cheat to keep out any competition at all. So you need to redress the imbalance. Luke, now I wear shirts that have my face on them. That is true, I do that sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. Tim, I did say poor white. and that's the fact. I mean, too, if there's this ridiculous thing again, right wingers say what's one of their terms of abuse lately? Identity politics, like people saying like when you're talking about making things fair, you need to take into account, you know, feminism. You need to take into account race relations, and they go, oh, that's just identity politics. And it's like, they're full of shit, honestly. You have to address the fact there literally were laws to marginalize women, to marginalize non-white people, and there still are structures in place that preserve the power structure that keeps anyone who's not a wealthy white man, straight man, right on the outer. And to suggest that shouldn't be addressed is complete horse shit. Oh yeah, the Greens ended up doing way better than I thought they would. Like at one point, the Greens looked like they weren't going to win any lower house seats, and they did get 2, didn't they? But they did go backwards in the Senate, if I remember. And they blamed Labor, and sure, Labor went hard on them. This is also the weirdest thing to me. This happened both in the Victorian state election and more broadly across Australia. Greens going, there's like, Labor's being mean to us. Like, dude, you set yourself up as direct competition to Labor. You're threatening their ability to get power. It's politics. Of course, they're going to fucking go hard. They're going to. There's no way they're going to defend everything Labor did. But this idea of like Labor's not playing fair. It's like, oh Jesus Christ, harden the fuck up. Tim, the Prime Minister of the UK is a woman. That is a true fact, and we've also had a female Prime Minister here in Australia, and that. Is meaningless in the face of entrenched power structures. It's a good thing, you know, seeing those advances is a good thing, but it's like the idea of saying, America had a black president, racism's over. No, it's not. That's fucking ridiculous. And nobody here said that. I'm not accusing anyone here of saying that. I'm just saying, citing things like, well, black president, job done. Female Prime Minister, job done. Female CEO, job done. It's like, no, job's not done. Dirk, you're right. New Zealand's current Prime Minister is also female. There's a misclassification. The identitarian movement is European, North American, white national. Ah, yes, the white nationalists. Yes, they are scary, and it kind of feels like they're growing, which is a very not good thing. Safa, do I know how long Daniel Andrews has lived in Melbourne? No, I don't. Yes, I know he grew up in the country. He's a Wangaratta boy. It's one of those great names when you tell someone from outside Australia there's a town called Wangaratta. They don't quite believe you because it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like a real thing. Yes. So Frank, who is very old school conservative, has no time for the bullshit from the alt-right or the MRAs. You know, lies are lies. It's just ridiculous. But actually, you're right, Tom. That there's a lot of pressure in the UK to get rid of Theresa May, but she survived that challenge, and I think under their rules, they're not allowed to challenge again for another year. It's totally weird. Tim, I don't think affirmative action divides society. I think affirmative action is a tiny drop in the bucket trying to redress incredibly entrenched structural imbalance. I think there's evidence again and again and again and again. If people say they don't discriminate, only give the job to the best person, and yet it's been shown again and again and again they do. If it's a foreign sounding name, or in the US a black sounding name, they are mentally marked down by the people going to place someone in the job. The idea that the system is fair is complete fucking bullshit. Oh my God, we're bringing up Penny Wong for PM. Penny Wong is probably my favorite politician in Australia, but I wouldn't wish the prime ministership on her. We saw the levels of naked fucking misogyny directed at Gillard, including by Labor people. And you think we should go for a lesbian of Asian descent and that would be fine? I wouldn't wish it on her. It'd be fucking awful. Tim, what political process would enable absolute fairness? None, because all political processes involve people, and people are shit. I think the struggle towards fairness and equality is never ending. I think a democratic system is the best bet. But that's also easily subverted. I mean, for fuck's sake, look at the US system. The voting in the US has been subverted so badly. It's basically, once people start chasing power, they'll do anything to keep a hold of it. And getting towards fairness, I think, is a constant struggle. Anyone who thinks this will work, will just do that and everything will be perfect, that's a recipe for disaster. The idea that anything will look after itself and always be fair is ridiculous. Tom, Penny Wong wasn't outspoken against marriage equality. Penny Wong towed the party line, which I think was really fucking hard for her, because that involved her basically saying, I don't deserve rights. I don't have any evidence for this, but I also think circumstances supported it. Gillard is clearly not a Puritan. I mean, she's obviously an atheist, unmarried, no children, shacked up with her dude. She didn't oppose marriage equality, but she was under siege and under constant attack so much. I honestly think they just pulled Penny Wong in and said, look, you know we support the idea of marriage equality, but we're under attack on too many other things. We can't afford to open up another battlefront. We have to throw you under the bus. It was a shit thing to do. It was an absolute shit thing to do. And I'm not sure they were right, but I honestly believe that was what happened. And hello, 20 years in Taiwan. Safa, is Aussie media more right-leaning? More right-leaning than who? Oh, and Russell, I will call you crazy. Peter Garrett honestly kind of shits me. You threw in Peter Garrett should make a run for Labor leadership if Bill Shorten lose. Peter Garrett resigned when Julia Gillard got offed. He's not an MP. I think he resigned from the Labor Party. I don't think he just resigned from Parliament. I think he resigned from the Labor Party. So I will actually call you crazy for bringing that up, because that's not something that's going to happen. I don't think he has any support. he'd have to build his name. We don't have a presidential system. He would have to rejoin the party, work his way back up, prove himself to be worthy of a ministerial position, then a leadership position. So I don't think that will happen. This foxification getting Chinese. Enjoy that. Tim, you're entitled to your opinion. As I've made fairly clear, I disagree with you. I think it's an example of just how shitty politics gets. She had to eat a big old shit sandwich and maintain solidarity with the party line, which was a fucking awful thing to do to her. But hey, you think that makes the weakest? Dude, I'm not going to argue with you. Tom, you're saying Plibisek and Albanese voted yes, but that's also a factional thing. It's a bit more complicated than I'm voting with my opinion. I don't know what faction Plibbers is in, but Albanese is on the left, and Wong isn't. Anyway, it's pointless because we don't know. There's the thing. I think I prefaced what I said with I don't have evidence for this. I looked at the situation and these are conclusions I draw. And my conclusions could be erroneous. None of us know what happened behind the closed doors. But, you know, I've been around politics a lot and that's how I read it. I obviously can't prove it. I don't have evidence. That's a whole bunch of gut feel. Pat, when we're going to have a YouTube meetup, it's going to have one in January. I'll have to look at dates. I haven't set a date. You know, maybe a couple of weeks into January. But yeah, see, this is the danger. This is what I try to avoid, the disease of the internet, into declaring I'm absolutely right. And even when there's no evidence. I have opinions. I'm absolutely not shy about my opinions, and I will maintain my opinion. Or I'll listen to other people. My opinions on some things change as time goes by. But this one, talking about the Penny Wong situation, this is not something that I'm deeply invested in. That's just looking at it from the outside. That's how I read it. I don't have any actual evidence to prove that. But then again, nobody has any evidence to prove it. Oh, thanks, David. Yes, I thought Tanya Plibersek was probably on the left. She's another of my favourite Labor politicians, actually. It's kind of like, it seems like the most likely leadership contender after Shorten is Albanese. I'm not particularly enthused by Albanese. He's okay, but yeah, I liked a lot of Plibersek's work over the years. So Tom, even if it was factional, okay, dude, you're pushing an ideology, and I get it. I push my own ideology, and I think I also made clear I thought this was shitty politics. This was a classic example of how shitty politics gets. But it's politics, and it's the realistic way things work. And I think it was shit. I think they should have supported marriage equality, and it was quite gutless not to, honestly. But people like Shorten and Gillard and whatnot were taking a very conservative line, because my reading of it was they really felt under siege. But like I said, this is from the outside. all of us are looking from the outside. None of us know what happened behind closed doors. 20 years in Taiwan. I don't seem as angry. I'm not. Oh my God, sorry. Oh, that was halfway between a hiccup and a burp. I'm not usually that angry in live streams. I tend to save that for the occasional video. I like that. Safa, is it Albo was communications minister for 8 months. Tim Jurgen couldn't communicate his way out of a phone booth. Not a fan. Okay, fair enough. I'm not a particular fan of Albanese. He hasn't done anything to impress me. But yeah. Dirk, you think there's a lack of leadership? Look, I wouldn't argue. No one's rocking the boat in Labor. They've just again, looking from the outside, they've decided, let's sit down, batten the hatches. We had all that ugliness. We got to get past it. The Liberals made the same mistakes we made, and it's really hurting them. We've got to just batten down the hatches, no disruptions, no disharmony, and we'll win power and probably keep it for a while. And so they've just gone, yeah, okay, Shorten got in. We're just backing Shorten. And so no one really rocks the boat and puts themselves out there as strong leadership material, in my opinion anyway. So, oh yes, Frank, you're saying in the Westminster system, the party can change their leadership without a general election. Yeah, if I understand rightly, what the Tories rules they have, like they did a no confidence motion in Theresa May, and she won easily, and I think they're not allowed to challenge her again for a year now. Again, and I think the rules are slightly more lax if you're in opposition. Like Corbyn has been under siege by bloody the more conservative elements of the Labor Party ever since he got the leadership. But the rank and file, the voters in the Labor Party overwhelmingly support Corbyn. And it really does my head in when you see these MPs, the way they were mouthing off at Corbyn. It's like, the voters are telling you what they want, okay? They kind of had it with Tony, what's his name, and his latter-day acolytes, these people who keep failing at elections. Corbyn gives them hope. You know, you can slag Corbyn if you like. I'm not going to rush to defend him. But the rank and file of the Labor Party made it pretty obvious who they wanted as leader. I reckon I'm with you 100%. I think behind closed doors, Labor has said, look, and you know, probably Shorten stood up and said, look, not everyone likes me, but we've seen what happens. The leadership challenges, the public fucking hates it. They lose all faith in you. We've been sitting here in opposition, and the Libs are tearing themselves apart, and the fucking public hate it, and it hasn't sunk in with the Libs that the public hate it. If we just if we keep our mouths shut, we're going to walk it in at the next election. So, you know, let's keep all our fights behind closed doors and just roll with it to the next election. And yeah, Safa, I think you're right. Scummo did change the rules after he became leader to make it harder, if not impossible, to challenge a sitting prime minister. Yeah, Frank, you're right. Corbyn came along and a lot of young people got enthused to vote. So we shall see. Can a populist lefty win? Oops, God, that freaked me out. I just knocked over a place. I'm going to get some more ice and make another drink. Oh, my legs. Oh, I'm so old. Okay, it's nice. Ooh, I just thought of something. Give me 1 second. I'm going to check something. Sorry, I just had to fix something, but I'm back. Okay. Now, I've got to try another concoction. Safa, do I think Scummo will stay as opposition leader? No, when the Liberals get creamed at the next election, and I'm quite convinced they're going to get creamed, even if he keeps his seat, he'll be out. He'll resign as leader and position will be open and he won't win it. Oh, okay, this is caramel vodka that I made. Oh my God, it smells good. I'm going to try a little bit of straight. Turkey, you want to trade knees and you're only 29. My knees are so fucked. Oh, that's really good. All right, I'm going to have a cold drink. Yeah, David, it's really going to depend who survives in the Liberal Party the next election, who ends up leader. If I were a gambling man, I'm a little bit of a gambling man. If she survives the next election, I would have my money on Julie Bishop. I reckon she's just quietly setting herself up to be the next leader. And that's not even groundbreaking thinking. I think that's like conventional wisdom. In fact, Julie Bishop is setting herself up to be next party leader. We shall see what happens. But yes, man, I have to admit, I'm really banking on the next federal election being an absolute caning for the Libs. I reckon, I've said this a few times, I really hesitate to predict things because the world is so volatile, nothing is for sure and whatnot. But I do think the Libs are going to lose at least 20 seats. Yeah, at least 20 seats. Some of the more extreme predictions have them losing up to 40 seats and like really getting wiped out. Yes, David, what about Chris Pine? Yes, he's quality leadership material, that lad, isn't he? God, he's weird. He is such a strange person. He's so weird. If you don't know Australian politics, you can probably find it. Look up Christopher Pine interviews on YouTube. He is such a weird person. He is just odd. He is very strange. But yeah, he's very strange. He might lose his seat at the next election. No one's safe. They could easily face a 10% swing against. Oh yeah, a few people called him. He said that was one of his whiz. I used it in a video. There's a video of him being interviewed. I'm a fixer. I fixed it. And it's just like he says such strange things in such a strange way. It's like, my God. Like the last episode of Charlie Pickering's show, The Weekly, they had an end of year special they called The Yearly, and it was pretty funny. And they had this recurring segment, Pine Watch, and it was just these weird bits of outtakes of interviews with Christopher Pine. He's so fucking strange. Yes. Oh, Dave, not as weird as Erica Betts. Erica Betts is not so much weird as horrible. Erica Betts is a horrible, leather-skinned, old, racist dinosaur. He's awful. Erica Betts is so fucking awful. There's a few kind of hardcore people in the LNP coalition who are just fucking scum of the earth. And it's Erica Betts and George Christensen and, well, Corey Bernardi, but he split from the Libs. Oh my God, there's another senator, trying to remember his name, but he's absolutely fucking awful. Just the worst. Oh my God, that's right, CrossFitter. He did. Sorry, it just made me laugh. Chris Pine did clearly call the opposition leader a cunt under his breath in Parliament, but it's like recorded on video, And it was under his breath, but it was pretty obvious what he said. He denied it. I forget what he claimed he said, but he clearly called the opposition leader a cunt. He's like, you're a real cunt, aren't you? It's just like, oh my God. Oh, David Hills. Kevin Andrews is a freak. Kevin Andrews pushes just really stupid, socially ultra-conservative, homophobic bullshit. Kevin Andrews doesn't really rile me. Like, he doesn't seem so much evil as weird and freaky. Like, Abetz is fucking evil. Tim, is there anyone in the Lib Nats I like? Struggle hard. I mean, I guess I don't hate Julie Bishop. God, okay, racking my brains. Who could I say something? God, there's none that I rush to say something good about. Mystery 9, Michaela Banks is fucking awful. She's awful. Yes, I think that's just what I was thinking of, David. Barry O'Sullivan. Oh my God, he's awful. Yeah, Frankie, that's a good summary. Abbott was a total fuckwit. Turnbull had no spine, and Scummo turns out to be a cut price Mike Pence. It's like, fucking hell. Trying to think, like, in the past, were there people in the LNP in the past I could spread out for? I mean, trying to think, look, like I mentioned before, Penny Wong's one of my favorite politicians in Australia. One of the things, because, man, do not cross her. She's hard as fucking nails. There was the hilarious thing, oh my God, with that dickhead from the previous minute. He was in the Howard administration, and he's now got like a cushy, what do you call it? Ambassador job in New York. Oh, my brain's gone a little bit blank on him, but he was real Liberal Party establishment for like a decade or more, and he retired, and now he's got this cushy diplomatic job. Don't know if he's an ambassador in America or if he's to the UN. Joe Hockey, thank you, Safa. That's who I'm thinking of. He is such a gimp. There was this hilarious bit of video. Both Hockey and Penny Wong were at the ABC, and Penny Wong was just leaving a studio having done an interview, and Joe Hockey was going to go into the studio to have an interview, and the door opens and Penny Wong comes out, and Joe Hockey does this, "Hi, Penny," and she just looked at him and went, and there's cameras rolling, and she just looked at him and went, ugh. And I was just like, oh my God. That was just like, I forget, because it was about a particular vote or something he'd said, and Penny Wong was just sick of his shit, and it was absolutely perfect. He just did this stupid chirpy, "Hi, Penny," and she didn't even say anything. She just made this grunt of disgust, just looked at him and went, ugh, and walked past him. And it was, you could tell how scared he was. He was scared of her. Yeah, Safa, he made that stupid comment about poor people not driving cars. Fucking out of touch, fucking idiot. My man tits. Great. What? I know what some of those words mean. Big hairy bear getting fuck-eyed for fuck all at Dan Murphy's. I haven't been to Dan Murphy's for a little while, but yes, it's a bottle shop for those who don't know. Big chain bottle shop. So, Tom, if Abbott wasn't so hell-bent on keeping skilled refugees locked out of society, oh, no, dude. You say he's done great work with Aboriginals, but he failed miserably as a Prime Minister. He said he was going to spend time with Aboriginals, and like he fucking lied. And he's so patronizing. He's fucking awful. And his ridiculous Puritan hard right Catholic bullshit is just, and just generally being a fuckwit. Like, the guy was such a fuckwit. He does my head in. He just kept shooting himself in the foot. It's ridiculous. What's that, Rukazen? Toffee apple cider. I prefer not to go for flavored ciders anymore. I used to try flavored ciders. I prefer to go for sort of straight up ciders. I've got two of my favorites. That bottle there, that's a non-sparkling cider. That's a still cider. It comes from Orange in New South Wales. That's probably my favorite. It's called Small Acres cider. And I think I actually have some in the fridge of my second favorite, which is a carbonated cider, more traditional one, called Flying Brick. It's made near Melbourne, just out past Geelong on the Bellarine Peninsula. Those are my two favorite ciders. Flavored ones are too much like cordial. I used to like them, and they're just too sweet. And I try to the sugar, so that's why I have spirits. Sugar-free lemonade, yes. Frank, you're not the only one who thought Abbott being parliamentary voice for Indigenous Australians was stupid. Indigenous Australians thought that was stupid too. Yes, misfoxication, and Abbott appointed himself Minister for Women. He was an unnecessarily hateful, spiteful piece of shit. And his sociopathic, egomaniacal personality just led him to make fuck up after fuck up after fuck up with no one pressuring him. He's never under pressure, and he just kept fucking up. It was mind-boggling to see in action. Frank, I don't know that they ran him out of their communities, but they made it clear they didn't want to see him, so he never actually did anything. I don't think the communities made it clear that they had no fucking interest in Tony Abbott as special envoy to Indigenous Australia. It's ridiculous. Well, see, Tim, I'm very pro-union, and look, I get it if you're not. So I think Tony Abbott was the most worthless, snivelling piece of shit to poison Australian politics in a long time. I think Tony Abbott was absolutely worthless fucking garbage. And yeah, and I'm extremely actively pro-union. So every time the Liberals try and do a scare tactic of, oh no, he's in the pocket of the union, you go, well, I fucking hope so, because workers have been getting fucked over for a couple of decades now. Wages stagnating while the heads of companies get massive bonuses and companies avoid taxes and stash money overseas. Tim, entitled to your opinion. But it is a tradition. Labor were the party of unionists. And not wanting them to be there, that's up to you. But the reality is they're there, and they're active advocates for their members. Sava, that is a good one. Imagine Abbott and Trump in a conversation. That's pretty mind-blowing. Yes. Oh yeah, Dirk, the whole thing about extending the retirement age to 74, that is the thinking of someone who's only ever worked in air-conditioned offices, thinking that there's no problem working till you're 74. It's a pretty fucking evil plot, honestly. Tim, we clearly disagree on the role of unions. I don't think unions need their power reined in. I think fucking companies need to be reined the fuck in. They've been stripping workers of rights. They've been fucking people over, and they need their fucking heads stomped on, as far as I'm concerned. This whole assault on penalty rates and basic working conditions and wages, no, let the unions off the fucking chain, as far as I'm concerned. The people running companies and running conservative politics in this country are fucking cunts, as far as I'm concerned. And they've been getting away with literal murder for too long. The reduction in workplace safety, they're fucking garbage. So yes, I am unashamedly pro-union. Like I said, Tim, we have different opinions, and that's fine. What's that, Tom? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're a fan of Get. I think Get Up are okay. I've never been actively involved with them, but I'm behind some of their campaigns. Mitchell, do I think low-paid people should get a pay rise? Well, yeah, even medium-paid people. Wages have stagnated for decades while corporate profits have gone up and companies have avoided paying taxes, and the executives at companies have had massive bonuses. Absolutely, there should be pay rises, 100%. Rick is saying, you want an election so friendly Geordies makes good content. I saw that. I didn't watch the video, but I saw he made the one shitting on Junkie. They must have had a snipe at him, because every time someone has a snipe at him, he goes to town on them. Like, what's the other website that he rages on because they had a go at him? Brain go blank. But he also rages on that Channel 10 show, The Panel. Is that what it was called? The Project. Yeah, BuzzFeed. He fucking hates BuzzFeed because BuzzFeed did rag on him. And so he had a huge attack on BuzzFeed. He raged against Voxy. See, not without cause. When he does these rages, definitely not without cause. And oh man, good luck to him. I honestly, I don't pay enough attention to those websites, and I don't think I've never watched a whole episode of The Project. I've watched bits of it, but yeah, I don't pay enough attention to them to have a really strong opinion. Batman, how's it going, buddy? So, but yeah, you know, someone has a go at him. He, fair enough, gets quite riled and has a go at them. And that was, yeah, I remember that with BuzzFeed. And I saw he did it with Junkies. I don't know if they did have a go at him or if he just decided he didn't like them. But he had strong opinions. And as a person who has strong opinions, I'm all about that. Batman, doing good, buddy. Oh, Tom, that was an interesting one. That whole Emma Assar thing was really, really odd. Like, at the end of the day, I don't know if there was actually anything worse than Emma Assar didn't seem like a great boss, and working in politics is really stressful. And I feel like she got on the wrong side of people, so they were like white-handing her. Like, if she'd been protected by a faction in the party, I don't think anything would have happened. But I don't know, it's like she was on the outer or something, so she was fair game. Obviously, I don't know all the details. I did read a bunch of that stuff, but I looked at it and I was like, I'm honestly not sure there's anything more to this than she doesn't seem like a great boss, and the political environment generally is horrifically stressful. Frankie, you think AG should be PM? You're terrified of the policies he would introduce? Mandatory glory holes, I think. You know, not just, you know, pre-condoms, pre-lube in places where you wouldn't actually expect it. Yeah, I think some of the policies would get into some very weird territory if AIDSy had free reign. I think he's okay, Pat, man. I will have to hit him up and see what he's doing, like on New Year's Eve. I get it, Tim. You don't like unions. Okay. Oh, Tom, you're a big Sally McManus fan. I have to admit, I do love some of the stuff she's done. She has actually stood up for workers and taken the fight to shitheads in the Murdoch media and the LNP. So yeah, she is very likely to go into politics. You're right. Dirk, you think AT wants more nude? Not more nude beaches. Yeah, I think he just wants more nudity. He would. I think his first step was be so public nudity wouldn't be a crime, and then he just worked people up to the idea of public nudity being mandatory. Yes. Sorry, Frankie, who are we saying is a Mormon? Sally McManus. I don't think so. The Liberal Party here in Victoria had a bit of an issue. Not an issue. If people want to join the Liberal Party, you know, they can. But there were stories that a lot of Mormons were joining the Liberal Party and like kind of stacking branches and trying to push incredibly conservative social policies. There was a bit of a backlash within the Liberal Party about that. Ms. Foxcation, would an atheist have a better chance of becoming king? Well, Gillard was an atheist. Not that she made a song and dance about it, but Gillard was obviously an atheist. So we've had an atheist PM. I don't think being an atheist hurts you even a little bit in Australia. I think if people knew more about Scummo and his crazy happy clapping evangelical bullshit, I think there'd be just fucking riots in the street to get rid of him. But now we're getting into public nudity in the snow. There's some people who are really into it. Isn't it a thing they do in parts of Northern Europe and Russia? Roll around naked in the snow, jump into frozen, well, you know, break the ice on a frozen river and jump in. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, sorry, I got it, Frankie. Tom said he's a Latter-day Saint. Yes, that's a confusing mix of terms right there. Yes. Miss Foxfication, I agree. Someone being openly atheist, like without being like one of the YouTube atheists who are just colossal dickholes about it. Someone just came, oh yeah, no, I'm an atheist. It was like, yeah, there's a broad church here, you know, there's people of all religions here in the party, and you know, we support people being whatever they want to be. Yeah, that's not me. I reckon that could actively work in your favor in Australia. Mitchell, what's a unionist? Right. Okay. A unionist is a paid up member of a trade union. And I know it used to be the law in a lot of places you had to be in the union to work on some sites. And I think there's been a lot of challenges to that over the years. Unions are a good example of absolute power corrupts absolutely. There are lots of cases around the world, including Australia, where unions have complete control over a trade or a workplace. A lot of their actions become more about preservation of power than protecting their members. And you can point to a lot of examples of trade unions selling out their members to the benefit of the trade union leadership. So anyone who wants to suggest that anyone is perfect, whether it be unionists, politicians, you know, cops, soldiers, anyone who wants to suggest that any group of people is perfect is quite delusional. But there are certain things I prefer, and there are certain things I will, fight for and support, and certain things I will fight against. And in very broad terms, I'm very pro-union. It's not to say there aren't some shitty union actions or shitty union leaderships, but in very broad terms, I'm very pro-union, and I do not trust the bosses. OG, hey, you're backing up with the streams. Definitely doing the streams. For about half an hour more. Even though I don't have to get up in the morning because I am on holidays at the moment, probably still will finish at 10 and go to bed. Yes, Frank, you're right. Individuals aren't perfect. You might make the mistake of thinking someone your fancy is, but that's your hormones talking. Yes, definitely. Oh my God, Dirk, getting kicked off a work site because, yeah, you weren't in with a particular union. Yep, no, yeah, that's actually, it's the thing. Power goes to people's heads, and there is a certain sort of person, it's like little Hitler syndrome. You give someone a little bit of power and it really goes to their heads and they really abuse it. But yeah, I mean, you just look at politics, no matter what your political persuasion is, no matter what political party or ideology you support, you have to sort of be realistic and go, man, for someone to say, I should lead this country, I should be in charge, that's, because I know better than everyone, that's some pretty fucking serious narcissism right there. Like, I don't think the average person wakes up going, I think I'm pretty much better than everyone and should run the entire country. There's a pretty extreme form of narcissism required to go there. As OG playing Ghost Recon Wildlands. Nice. Oh, Dirk, don't tell me I'm paraphrasing Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson talks absolute rubbish. In fact, Jordan Peterson talks in a really imprecise way. He's very wordy, and the vast majority of the time avoids saying anything direct. So it sounds quite intellectual, but it's inherently meaningless. And so people can read into it whatever they want. They go, yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, that's my thing. And if he's pinned down on something, he'd go, no, that's not what I said. And someone looks at it and goes, but that fucking word salad in your book, that sounds like you're saying this. And he goes, well, it's not. It's not what I'm saying. I think if I was being incredibly polite, I would say Jordan Peterson is extraordinarily intellectually dishonest. He deliberately obscures what he's saying so he can always wriggle. And also, it lets people read into it what they want. That's why he's got all these fans, because they look at it and go, that sounds really smart, and I think it's telling me I'm right. And yeah, personally, I think Jordan Peterson's full of shit, and he's very intellectually dishonest. Is that Mystery 9? Yes, Jordan Peterson has been shown to be wrong many times. Oh, yeah, this idea of him being a public intellectual is fucking horseshit. He's all smoke and mirrors, as far as I'm concerned. Saying, oh, but I don't like what he said meant something to me and I felt good. Fucking fine. He's fooling you, though. It's a combination of telling a certain group of people exactly what they want to hear, while at the same time being so vague that almost anything can be read into what he's saying. It's very shonky. It's very shonky behaviour. And it's all about the cult of Jordan, as far as I'm concerned. And grab a little bit more ice because I have one more concoction to taste. A little bit of ice so I can do it. Oh, my legs. Right, boys. Okay, nice. Now, last concoction for the evening. Where's my jigger? What have I done with my jigger? Oh God, I haven't had that much to drink. Hang on, it's behind the bottle. There we go. That's a good way of putting it, Miss Foxification. Peterson's like a religious preacher. People take whatever they want from what he says. Now, this little urine sample, it's got cat hair hanging off it because my cats are everywhere. This is popcorn vodka. I infused some Mike and Ike buttered popcorn candy into vodka. And it smells quite a bit like popcorn. Artificial flavors are an amazing thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad at all, actually. Nice and warm. Oh, David, yes, definitely on the piss, buddy. Have a bit of lemonade on the rocks. Little bit of the vodka. Taste it in a tall glass. That'll do. Frank, have I ever played the Saboteur? You love running over Third Reich troops and hijacking Gestapo troops. I've not even heard of that game, actually. I don't play that many games. I've been meaning to get back into God of War, Dad of Boy, as people like to say it. But I haven't. I'd left Mafia 3 by the roadside, and I finished it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, Dirk, I think I have to make a gin fizz cocktail and just call it the Jizz. 2 tank skull body. Yeah, I've got skull decanters. They just got from like a $2 shop, slightly more than $2. I think these, but I think these were only like $4 or something. They're really cool. I've got 2 different ones. There's this one, and there's this one, which is slightly different. Them side by side, they're slightly different. They're quite different. But and I've also got some bottles because I had some Crystal Head vodka. So bigger bottles from that used to have Crystal Head vodka in it. Oh, and I've got some little ones I got from duty free. So I've got little skull bottles about this big. And then I've got one that's sort of between the little ones and that again I got from a $2 shop. Little skull decanters that I don't have anything at the moment. I had that for taking stuff to parties. I've got a lot of skull bottles, decanters. This Fox catching small ones and MRA skull. Nice. Ah, yes, 2 tank Frank sent you a pick of one glowing in black light. That's a good match. Skulls and black lights. Very 70s. Safi saying EA's lost a lot of stock in 2018. I don't know. I'll tell you what I was planning to get. Because I'm still on holidays next week, maybe I'll get it to play next week. I don't know. Planning to get Red Dead Redemption 2. I was going to try and be good and finish God of War before I got Red Dead Redemption 2. But I don't know if I can. But I don't know why, because like everyone, I did kind of enjoy. I started God of War, and everyone says it's great and like Game of the Year and all that. But there's so much hype with Red Dead Redemption 2. I really want to play it. Tom, do I think when the APL get in, they'll tear up national security policy, be more inclusive to oppress people of colour? I think in their first term, they will tread very softly. I think Shorten's fucking too timid. I think they won't do anything radical on their first term. They'll probably get rid of some of the excesses of the Liberals' industrial relations policy. But I think they're going to be really paranoid about being seen to do anything too radical. That's my thing. Frankie, yes, there's the Aussie Knight that calls himself the Skull. Sad little man. There's a fun video. There's a guy who started this group that he calls Yard, yelling at racist dogs. They're very they say they're very pro free speech. They like free speech so much they shout their free speech at the top of the lungs. So when we get these like right wing fuckheads doing their speaking to us, Yards show up outside the gigs and yell abuse at them. And it's really funny. And Yard posted a video that a subscriber had sent to them, actually found this fucking mutant freak, the Skull, on a train and just abused the shit out of him on the train. It's really funny. He's a piece of shit. Frankie, you think I'm a Steam guy? That's only for PC games. I have a PS4 and a Switch. I mean, I've been thinking of playing Legend of Zelda again on the Switch, playing another round of Breath of the Wild, because that was so good. Agro Pixie, I set up Monster Hunter. I set up a character in Monster Hunter. I didn't really like the mechanics of it, and then it seemed to be forcing me into playing online and joining up with people. My daughter tells me it's not really doing that, so maybe I'll make an effort to get into Monster Hunter. But I did set up a character in Monster Hunter and do all the intro stuff for Monster Hunter World. Dirk, best N64 game, OOT. Okay, I feel like I should know what that acronym is. I still have a working Nintendo 64. The Zelda games were the best on that. Ocarina of Time, of course. I knew that's what it was. Yes, Ocarina of Time is very good, as was Majora's Mask. I really enjoyed Majora's Mask. But Ocarina of Time was such a good game. I'd love to actually, I'd love it. They probably won't because it's really aggressive. But I'd love it if they did a remastered and expanded Ocarina of Time for the Switch using the same engine they had for Breath of the Wild. I was thinking the one thing with Ocarina of Time that I thought just made it the best, besides that, it was a great game playing, and the whole time travel thing was a really good device in it. But the bit that really got me is when you finish Ocarina of Time, there's this whole credit sequence plays. Everyone's having a party because you've defeated Ganondorf. The world's safe, so it's a huge party while the credits run. But then there's this bit where the Fish King, I forget his name, and the other dude from the Kakariko village, the fish dude's daughter is gone. She became one of the spirits, and also the best friend in the village. That's it, King Zora, and the little fucking annoying dude from the village. The girl from the village who also became a spirit was his best friend. So while everyone else is celebrating, going, "Yay, we beat Ganondorf! The world is safe. We're awesome," they're really sad because they're sitting there being really sad because the most important people in the world to them is gone. The most important people in the world to them made the sacrifice and they're gone. And that really hit home to me. Right at the point you're celebrating, you get reminded, no, people sacrificed to make this happen. And I really like that. I'm not even indulging that shit. I'm just not. But yes. So yes, in games. So I kind of like. I'd love the idea of a remastered and expanded Ocarina of Time done with the same engine as Breath of the Wild. I don't think they will. Frank, can play PS3 games and PS4? I am not sure. I'm honestly not sure. That is not something I looked into. But I know, Tim. The LMP does have a Sudanese woman in the part. She did the funniest interview. She got posed a question that I think she didn't know the answer to. She's like, okay, next question, and then she's like, bye, and just walks away from them because it's really weird. Dirk, you reckon Twilight Princess was a remaster? I don't know. I mean, like a literal remaster of Ocarina of Time with the Breath of the Wild engine. I don't think they'll do it. They'll move on to something new. They don't want to go back. But I might play Breath of the Wild again, start from scratch, because it's good. I saw someone said, it was a good element in Breath of the Wild that your weapons broke. You could only use them for a limited time to break. And so you had to really judge what weapon you used and when. And of course, probably like everyone else, when I got to the end, and I beat Ganondorf or whatnot, I'm sitting there and I've got all these overpowered weapons because I was saving them because I thought, I might need them. And I finished the game and I had all these really powerful weapons in reserve. And it's like, okay, yeah, I could have made my life a bit easier by using these earlier. Well, life goes on. Tim, you have a mate who's a racist truck driver with a beard. Was his dream job is cleaning tanks in an aquarium? Tom, you do actually clean the tanks. Nice. That certainly sounds like an interesting job. Interesting environment to work in. Sounds cool. I just work in an office. Yeah. That's okay. You work your job and occasionally go, oh, my work actually seems to be valued and my input is valued. So that's good. Driving trucks, man. I've had this conversation on live streams before. Truck driving won't exist as a job soon. That the first self-driving vehicles to be accepted will be freight vehicles. And as soon as they're reliable, freight companies will ditch drivers overnight. And there'll be self-driving vehicles delivering freight. And that's really full on because I'm not sure of the employment figures in Australia, but I remember being weirded out when I read a statistic in the majority of US states. I don't think it's every state, but in the majority of US states, the most common job is truck driver. And truck drivers are going to get wiped out. You look at 10 years, truck driving will be wiped out as a job. And so, but that will have knock-on effects. It won't just be truck drivers who are out of job. There's a whole infrastructure to support truck drivers, and truck stops and motels and whatnot, and they won't be needed either. So that's going to have a huge shake-up on the employment landscape. People really underestimate what jobs are going to go in the next 50 years. You know what's going to go? GPs. GPs will be all but wiped out when computer-based diagnostics are proven to be immensely more reliable and more objective than human GPs. GPs will get wiped out. Only real specialists, and they've already got robots that do surgery, and they're just going to get better. So even hyper specialized jobs like surgeons are going to get wiped out by automation. People just go, oh, it's factory jobs. No, 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 no. Automation is going to wipe out an enormous number of jobs in the next 50 years. Holy cow, Tom, you were an underwater demolition defense specialist for 16 years. So that's where your underwater stuff comes in. So cleaning the tanks is easy by comparison. Yeah, you're right, Ms. Foxification. Sensors in the home will end up being far more reliable than GPs. It's a simple fact. GPs and medical professionals generally are incredibly flawed. Nurses will still be required in hospitals because someone has to do physical care for patients, but diagnostics and treatment, that's 90% of the jobs in that area won't exist in 50 years. That's my hot take. That's my big prediction. That's one of the fields that's going to be absolutely wiped out by automation. Medical professionals and the higher end medical professionals are going to get wiped out by the high end medical professional jobs. Everything from GP up to surgeons are going to get wiped out by automation. I see, Ms. Foxification. You had your own EEG machine. You worked out a treatment for migraines that doctors couldn't help with. See, this is a thing. Is a simple thing. Humans are flawed, and once you get over the teething problems with automated diagnoses, they'll be much more effective than humans. Agro picture around a huge influx of mechanics and engineers. Yeah, I mean, the future's full of challenges, basically. I mean, honestly, a thing I'm really interested in, and occasionally I look around to see if there are any good uni courses in it, because I work in IT now, but I think what governments are going to need guidance in the ethics of automation and robots, because technologists fall in love with technology for its own sake, and they make terrible mistakes because they're very blinkered in their vision, and they have zero concern for whose lives they lay to waste because they're just fixated with their technology. And I think governments need, for want of a better word, ethicists to work with them on the implementation of automation and robots, because politicians do not impress me with their intelligence, foresight, or integrity, and commercial interests certainly don't impress me with their intelligent foresight or ethics. So I feel like someone needs to take on this role of really getting governments to think through, okay, what this means is this impact, this sympathy here. Dirk, you reckon you'll never own a self-driving car? Means you won't be in a car, man. Again, what's going to happen with self-driving cars? As soon as they're proven to be consistently safer than human-driven cars, in all seriousness, they already are. People just are a bit twitchy about it. But work out a few of the kinks that still exist. And when it's unquestionable that self-driving cars are much safer than humans, and they will be safer by orders of magnitude than human, not slightly safer, but they'll have an accident rate less than 1% of what human drivers have. And what will happen, it's not so much that they'll make human driving illegal, but the cost of insurance to drive your own vehicle will double, triple, go up by a factor of 10. Like basically only incredibly rich wankers will be able to drive their own vehicles because they're the only ones who will be able to have insurance. Because you think about it, if simple statistics are you're 100 times more likely to have an accident than an automated vehicle, the insurance companies are going, no fucking way. You know, no, we're not going to be liable for your bullshit. It will become too expensive to drive your own vehicles. Simple as that. Oh, and if you're scared of self-driving vehicles and what could go wrong with them, because plenty could go wrong with them. There's a fun short story was written by a speculative fiction sci-fi writer called Cory Doctorow. If you want to get some very interesting scenarios about how self-driving cars could be subverted, look up, the author is Cory Doctorow, C-O-R-Y, surname D-O-C-T-O-R-O-W, Cory Doctorow, and the short story is called Car Wars. So just look up Cory Doctorow, Car Wars, and he explores some very interesting ideas on how self-driving cars could be subverted. And the main problem will be government interference. Governments wanting constraints and backdoors and all this sort of shenanigans. And so like any technological backdoor you put in for a government, which governments will demand, will be open to exploitation by malicious actors. There's no way around it. When you introduce a weakness, bad people will exploit that weakness. I think I'm going to sneeze. I just got a tickle in my nose. Oh, some dust or something. That is a point, Miss Foxification. Commercial jets are automated 99% of the time they're in operation, which people don't seem to realize that most of a pilot's job is watching dials and flashing lights. Modern commercial airlines are automated 99% of their operation. So yeah, honestly, I reckon automated cars are probably already safer than human-driven cars. It's just some of the implementation is a bit dodgy at the moment, and the human factor continues to be a challenge. So the thing, yes, what you say is true that the human can take over if need be. The simple fact of the matter is a human operating a commercial jetliner is much more likely to cause a problem than the automated systems are. So will petrol get more expensive for automatic cars? Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. I mean, you know, particularly if we get, you know, solar-powered electric cars, the whole thing with the oil cartels falls down. What happens then? There are so many sociological questions in all of this. Like this fixation, you keep seeing people put this thing over, ooh, how will a self-driving car choose who to kill in an emergency situation? You know, will it swerve to avoid a pedestrian and maybe kill the driver, or not swerve and kill her? That's an absolute bullshit proposition. That isn't, there's no way that's going to be the main proposition, because if all or the majority of cars on the road were automated, that scenario just won't come up. But there are a whole bunch of other, both sociological and technical questions that need to be answered. But people are fixating on this bullshit that isn't even relevant. Like, oh, who will the car choose? No, the car will drive in a manner that that scenario will almost never come up. And making a safe evasive maneuver for a random pedestrian is trivial compared to some of the other issues. Yeah, people fixate on the wrong things. Oh, look at that. Finished my drink and it's 10 o'clock. I see, Frank, you hit on something. Automated freight vehicles would still need someone, probably for security, but they would just be sitting there. So the pay rate for someone who just sits there as a backup will be much, much lower than a truck driver. A truck driver is skilled. Someone who's literally just sitting there, probably sleeping most of the time, will be paid much less than a truck driver's paid today. Oh, excuse me. No, I'd give them there. And that's what I mean about sociological issues. All these different things. Dirk, yeah, train drivers. But again, train drivers are going to get replaced by automated systems. It's weird. Frankie's saying Britain first and Trump fans used Saudis to vilify Muslims, but Trump loves them. Man, I've said for years the Saudis are pieces of shit, and it's disgraceful that we suck up to them so much. We suck up to them because of oil and the power they have in the region. And it's morally indefensible the way we suck up to the Saudis. It's absolute shit. I hate it. But that's another story. And it's after 10 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed. But I must first, once again, thank you, wonderful people, for your company this evening. It has, as usual, been a pleasure spending time with you. Very much enjoyed the diversity of our conversation tonight. But I hope you all look after yourselves, and I'm going to see what videos are going to. I was doing something silly. I'm editing something silly at the moment. It takes a lot of work, and it'll probably be really annoying, but I hope it's annoying in a good way. Yeah, you may well see a quite weird video from me in the next couple of days. I'm going to do like probably my normal weekend one, either tomorrow or Saturday. I've got a 360-degree camera that I need to try out. Christmas present I bought myself. I need to try that out. Probably do like walking down the art laneways here in Melbourne, like a little tour. So there might be a few unusual videos from me in the coming weeks. I hope you're okay with that, and looking for that. And in the meantime, you'll look after yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. But I will say bye for now. And I click the stop.